tennis strings make no difference to the amount of spin that you can generate. Well, that's what I was told when I was growing up anyway. But after experimenting with a variety of strings, I found one that gave me more spin than any other, and that was RPM Blast. But recently, after using my new rackets, I've started to become not sure about it, and I was feeling a bit lost as to what to try out next with my strings. But then I received a comment in one of my recent videos recommending the Volkl V-Square. And I'll be honest, I hadn't really heard much about this string before, and after doing a bit of research, I quickly discovered that it's not only supposed to be the best tennis string for spin, it also gets good power, it's soft on your arm, and it's durable. But then I got confused. If this string is starting to sound like the GOAT of tennis strings, then how come I can't find any pros that use it? In this video, I'm going to put this claim to test and find out how good this string really is. Does it actually get you more spin, or is it just marketing? What are the pros and cons of this string, and is it worth switching from your current one? And for me, that's RPM Blast. Okay, so it was at this point during the video that I had this really cool idea to try and do like a spinning transition of me stringing my racket with the Volkl strings in it. I got my girlfriend to take a video of the top of my stringing machine, and I was going to spin it around with the empty racket and then spin it around again with the racket strung up. But in process of doing this, whilst I was spinning it around, I accidentally hit my girlfriend with my grip. So instead, I'm just going to show you some close-ups of the strings whilst I was stringing it. Okay, so first off, I think the string looks really cool. I've never played with a string that's bright colors, and I know aesthetically it doesn't mean very much, but I really like the look of this string, so I was really excited to play with it from that respect. And when I put it in there, everyone was like, oh, what string are you using? Because the only red string that they could really think of was Red Code by Technofiber. Okay, so I read a lot around the different marketing behind the string and how it was supposed to be the best for the spin. Because of the square shape of the string, it's supposed to like move really well on the racket and generate loads of spin. A lot of different sources on the internet rating it as the highest for spin. So my first few shots with the racket, I was kind of expecting to be mind blown with the amount of extra spin I could generate. And I don't want to say I was let down, but it definitely caught me by surprise with how similar the amount of spin was to the RPM that I was currently using. I couldn't really tell that much of a difference. And even with my first few shots, they were like flying long. In my head, I was thinking I was just going to get so much spin, I didn't need to add the spin myself. Once I got comfortable hitting a few balls and I got used to strings a little bit more and I was generating spin myself, I can definitely see how you were able to generate a lot of spin with it, but I wouldn't say the amount of spin you get from this string is enormous compared to the other strings out there like RPM. However, having said that, I really did like the way that this felt within my racket. I definitely felt a little bit of a crisper feeling with the ball, and it wasn't as dead as I was used to with the RPM. Kind of like had a middle ground between being super crisp and super dead, which I quite liked. And the feeling on contact was really nice. So although this is marketed as a spin string, I think it only gives you that little bit extra spin. It is an extremely marginal difference of the amount of spin you can generate. On the kick serves, I could feel it, heavy top spin, and maybe the balls were dropping in slightly more. And when I was taking big cuts on the ball, I was able to generate a lot of spin and it was dipping in the court, but it kind of begs the question, is that from the racket? Is that from the technique? I think if you're looking for more spin, then changing the way you hit the ball is going to make more of a difference. Also, I think if you're looking for more spin, then you're more likely to feel the difference if you're using a different type of racket rather than the string itself. The string is very comfortable. I did feel like it was a lot softer than all the other polys that I had tried. So if you're looking for comfort but also a full bed of poly, then I definitely give this string a try. I played with it for over 4 hours and I had no problems with my arm. Sometimes when I play with like the thicker wiry polys, then I do feel a bit of arm pain, but with these strings I definitely didn't feel that whatsoever. I feel like these strings walked a very middle ground with power and control. I really didn't feel like the balls were flying on me. And even when I was taking big hits on it, I definitely felt the control there. As expected, there was a little bit of tension drop after 45 minutes of using it, but it wasn't too extreme and it was manageable, and this isn't too dissimilar to other strings out there. And it definitely isn't a negative that should hold you back from trying this string out. I personally wouldn't use this string in a hybrid format. I think it works best having it in the mains and the crosses together. If I were to use a hybrid, I'd probably go back and use the RPM in the mains and then something like a sensation in the crosses. And with regards to durability of the string, I can't really give a proper answer for this one because it broke at the top of the frame. It really popped at the top. I have heard that other people who are using New Pure Aero have been breaking a lot more strings at the top of the frame than they have previously. Whether that's a problem with the string or the racket, I'm not too sure. My only concern, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, maybe some of you in the comments might be able to enlighten me a bit here, is because it's more of the square shape. When I was stringing it, I definitely found that when they crossed over in the grommet up here, it did stick out a little bit more, especially if you didn't get the two smooth sides on top of each other. If it was more of an angled side, it would poke out a little bit with the other string on top. And actually, interestingly, when I look a little bit closer here, the string is fraying outside of the grommet here. So I think it just sticks out a little bit more than usual with the other RPM. So when you're going for low slices, trying to scavenge a low ball, and you're scraping it against the ground, I think that might have been the root cause of the reason why I broke at the top of the frame. Can't say for certain whether it's the racket, the way I hit the ball on the contact, or if it's because of the way that the strings were fraying on top of the frame. And if it's the latter, then that's going to cause a problem for me. But interestingly, because I broke those strings, I had to go back to using the RPM straight after, and there I could really tell the difference between the two strings. And I have to say, I definitely felt more comfortable hitting from the back of the court with the Volkl V-Square. I was more trustworthy of my shots, really going for my backhand and going for my forehand, and felt more comfortable that I was going to drop in the court. And I definitely preferred this slightly more crisp feeling on the contact, especially on the volleys and the smashes. But at the end of the day, is it really worth switching from your current string to the Volkl V-Square? I wouldn't say that if you're using a more spin-oriented string at the moment, like I was with the RPM, then I wouldn't say it's a necessary switch and you're going to feel a big difference, but you do get a slightly different feeling. And for me, I definitely prefer that feeling of the Volkl V-Square. Does it make a difference to my performance, and will I win more matches with it? Probably not, as I think the spin is pretty similar, maybe slightly more power, but it's not too noticeable. And the differences that you get with this type of string are very marginal. I don't think it's going to be the difference between you winning games that you were losing before. If you're not liking the feeling of your current string, then yeah, definitely try it out. But if you're looking for actual measurable gains within the performance of your shots, then I don't think it's going to make too big a difference. So will I be switching from my RPM Blast to these Volkl V-Square? I am definitely not against that idea. I definitely enjoy using this string, and I definitely want to use it more to get more of a feeling for it. If the strings keep breaking at the top of the frame like that and they keep wearing down outside the grommet, then I don't think I'll be able to use it in the long term. But I definitely want to try out some other strings. So if you have any more questions about this string, leave them in the comments below and let me know if there's any other strings that you'd like me to try out next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.